Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. The rest of the data will be found down below this video in the description. Today, this video is about Lockheed Martin versus Boeing stock. Which is a better buy? QA expert Daryl Guberman says, of course, Bell, Textron. That's the better buy. Reason being is that Lockheed, Sikorsky, and Boeing, the collaborative team, one fudges documentation has poor quality, Boeing does, and that's proved. You'll find the information down below. If you don't find it, please contact me at 203-556-1493 or Daryl, Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. They were caught fudging documentation on aircraft. You know, there's a little saying in the industry, if it's Boeing, don't get going. They've had issues, Boeing has, with their 737 MAX, their Boeing 777 and 787, all having quality issues. You also have, conversely, you also have Lockheed Martin, which I did a video on most recently, where in this article it says, here after 800 F-35s that have been built by Lockheed Martin, they still have rejections. The rejections didn't drop, they got exponentially worse, it appears. So, we're going to continue on. The reason why I do this is very simple. It is because of integrity, honesty, and the truth. And yes, Bell is a better buy if that's in my corner. You have all these failures in quality. I think, in fact, the 787, I think Boeing, because of rework quality issues, it cost them $1 billion in repairs. We are going to have that in the description as well. There is a very good friend of mine, a Tom McDonald, very good musician. I've read many discussions about Tom being arrogant, being this and that, the same stuff that he has gone through and going through as an independent artist. I have gone through in, not only in the videos that we produce for quality, manufacturing quality, aerospace, automotive, electronics, medical, etc., pharmaceutical, etc., but he has gone through his own stuff as well. There's an affinity there in the sense that, yes, you become a little bit, how should we say? It's not jaded, you become more determined, and that's what it's all about. And I'm going to say this for Tom because he is a consummate human being. Outside being on the camera, we just, we talk to each other and all that. He's a good man. So I'm going to say this from me to him and for those good businessmen and women who forge every day to do the right thing. Unlike Boeing fudging documentation. Unlike Boeing having quality issues on every aircraft that they build. Unlike Lockheed, who even after 800 aircraft still have quality issues. Unbelievable. And you'll find out that both of those organizations have gotten their data taken by no other than China because of affiliation. So this goes from me to Tom. From time to time, there appear on the face of this earth a man of rare and consummate excellence, who dazzle us by their virtues and whose qualities shed a stupendous light, like those extraordinary stars whose origins we are ignorant, and whose fate, once they have vanished, we know even less. Such men neither have forbearers nor descendants, for you, Tom, are the whole of your race. And the one that is really a pet peeve of mine for our political issues that go on, also for Boeing and for Lockheed, their management, unbelievable. This does not go to the personnel. The personnel, they should get rid of the CEO and give each one of them a bonus, the employees down below. For Bell, because Bell is not affiliated with the American National Standards Institute as Boeing and Lockheed Sikorsky is, Bell is the choice that I would pick when investing. And this is it. It is impossible to comprehend the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in our society. When a man or woman has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of their mind as to subscribe their professional beliefs to things they do not believe, They have prepared themselves the commission for every other crime. The first poem was from Jean Lebray. The following poem was from Thomas Paine. And we continue on. You have ANSI. The American National Standards Institute is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental entity corporation, which has both federal agencies and corporations on board. Randy Doherty was, at the time in 2015, the vice president of ANAB, the American National Crediting Board. Okay, he was also the principal and chairman on the IAF Tax Report International Accreditation Forum, Incorporated in Delaware. He handed over leadership to Zhao Jinwu, a communist Chinese national who's been involved with our quality since 1994. He is also the chief executive at the time of the China National Accreditation Services, which is in Beijing, China. He is mandated by his country of origin, a communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. 2018, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB. You have federal agencies and corporations on board. A thing I'm going to illuminate you to is Randy in 2017 was being advertised on the Department of Homeland Security for a PPS certification. They make up acronyms for these certifications, like you're turning on the water in your sink. So he was being advertised on a government website, which I thought was always a no-no. Yes, it was a no-no because I opened up my mouth, did a video, and they took him down. And while he was on the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, there is a Phil Matheson. Phil Matheson is the director of standardization, blah, 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 all the rest of that happy horse bunk. And he was sitting there making $262,000 as a royalty payment, which is a non-taxable payment if you check with the IRS. They don't even know. I don't know. Who knows what? Again, another bad Jackie Mason stand-up routine, who was, God rest his soul, a comedian. So anyway, you have Randy. Phil Matheson making $262,000 plus his federal salary. You also have Randy Doherty, who's buddies with this guy since 1994. And the worst thing is that Zhao Jinwu was mandated by his country of origin to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. Doesn't something smell fishy? On top of it, dear old Zhao Jinwu was seen in Wuhan, China in 2017 when he was still the IAF chairman, incorporated in Delaware. He was seen giving an ISO 17025 certification for laboratory to the laboratory. And you have a Miss Pamela Sale, who said under deposition when there was a laboratory failure in Texas. She said from one laboratory, and she was a vice president of laboratory certification for ASCLD Lab and also for ANAP. She said under deposition that there is no protocols that a lab has to follow in order for them to proceed with testing, etc., preparation, etc. All laboratories, whether phlebotomy, biolevel 4 lab like Wuhan, or just testing in general, all right? That's the laboratory. It's unbelievable. So you have this, and forensic laboratory. So you have forensic laboratory, you have biolevel 4 lab, and you have phlebotomy lab that tests all kinds of fluids. You have federal agencies and corporations on board. Let's get into the heart of the matter. In 2009, Lockheed Martin gets hacked by China. They also sit on ANSI's board, okay? The government wrote them up, as they've done a lot of times. They wrote them up, and these were the findings both on Lockheed's engines and Lockheed's engines from Pratt & Whitney, and also Lockheed themselves. So they're sitting on ANSI's board right over by ANAB, who sits there, their accreditation body, okay? And you take a look at this. They should have the creme de la creme when it comes to quality. Well, this is what the government said. The F-35 program did not sufficiently implement or flow down technical and quality management system requirements to prevent the fielding of non-conforming hardware and software. This could adversely affect aircraft performance, reliability, maintainability, ultimately program cost. Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Company, Lockheed Martin, and its subcontractors did not follow. Are you listening to this? Did not follow disciplined AS9100 quality management system rules. That's already an X on them. Do you think you're going to invest in that company? Not me. A thing about it is this. Also, you have the factor that Lockheed Martin, we have a letter, I've read it many times, you'll find it down below, that they push IAF, the International Accreditation Forum. Why do they push it? Because they themselves sit on it. Isn't that unbelievable? Worst thing is, too, is that sitting over on the IAF is not only Lockheed Martin, but you have ANSI and ANAP, okay? ANSI has all those federal agencies and corporations. They are like a conduit. You hear that suction from Zhao Junwu? Oh my goodness. They have the suction of the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, that is looking over them between 2015 and 2021. The worst thing, too, is that they have Iran and Pakistan sitting over by the IAF. Lockheed Martin is an associate member at the time. An associate member can vote on policy, and they didn't vote these guys off. For the actions that these guys did at 9/11, they admitted to harboring some of the terrorists of 9/11. And as Pakistan, we know, harbored Osama bin Laden. Isn't that nice? Further on, here goes another reason not to invest in that company, is you have the F-35. Failure after failure after failure. Okay? And let me just say this. F-35, Lockheed Martin, Lockheed Sikorsky, and Boeing. If you want to come after little old me and take me to task, send me a cease and desist, let me just say this. ANSI works with the American Bar Association. Isn't that a tender moment? And also this. Also, the Department of Justice sits on ANSI's board, so you already have your cards stacked, just like you're trying to do with Bell Helicopter. Have your cards stacked, because you're sitting on ANSI's board, both Lockheed, Sikorsky, and Boeing, right over by, you know who, business owners? Oh, isn't that nice? The Department of Defense. The people who sign off the contract for appropriating money for the replacement Black Hawk. Isn't that nice? Not only that, I got a letter from a lawyer of 40 years that said both state and federal courtrooms are no more than smoke and mirrors. You've got a circus there. So we'll continue on. Now you have United Technologies in 2012 getting hacked by China, taking, their subsidiary, taking material from Sikorsky Aircraft. They hacked UTC, and the UTC branch they hacked, division, was United Technology, which was Sikorsky. In the Connecticut Mirror in 2015, when Lockheed was going to buy Sikorsky, you've got this. With China's okay, Lockheed Martin to close on Sikorsky purchase, and on top of it, which makes it worse, is you have our representation. Rosa DeLauro, Chris Murphy, Jim Himes, and Richard Blumenthal all complimenting Lockheed Martin for working with communist China. Isn't that nice? And then you have poor Christopher Wray from the FBI. Poor Christopher Wray from the FBI, he talks about, we have to maintain vigilance. China is a detriment to our world. Well, look at it. The FBI sits on ANSI between 2015 and 2021. His organization has been hacked by China, so every time he beats that Chinese manufactured drum to Congress or Senate, this is what you have to remember. The FBI has been compromised. People ask me, they say, Daryl, how do you know this? How do you know that Sikorsky, and how do you know that the F-35 was taken? This is another reason. Why invest in technology that's been taken? Because it has been taken. Here you go. You have the factor of the F-35. F-35, the copycat, is the J-31, the China. You have the UH-60A, the Black Hawk. The copy is the Z-20. Which looks just like the Black Hawk. There's your technology. Now you have Boeing. Here goes another investment faux You have Boeing. Boeing. They have issues with the 737 MAX, 777, and 787, as I told you. In fact, here you go, stockholders of Boeing. Would you buy your... Look at it. They were fudging documentation, which means here they are building a government contract with Lockheed Sikorsky. They're building it together. The Defiant SB-1. Boeing has already been caught fudging documentation. What kind of schmuck would go with them, number one? Because if they're fudging it on the main aircraft that you're flying in, what do you think they're going to do when our military people are flying in that aircraft as well? So you have to really scratch your head a second. And then you have Lockheed Martin, who after 800 F-35s still have quality issues. Do you know why they have it? Because they don't have Daryl Guberman on their quality team, both at Lockheed and at Sikorsky. And by the way, I used to work many years in the aerospace industry, and a director of quality said to the Human Resources Department concerning me, because we had a meeting, and he said this, and his exact words were this. Ray Davis, God rest his soul, said this. He said, if we had 100 more Daryl Gubermans on the floor, then the aircraft that are going out the hangar would have no rejections, because that is what we do. Our reputation is on the line. Unlike, I guess, the CEOs of those companies, Lockheed and Boeing. I know that Bell has Mitch Snyder, and from what I've gathered and read, he's a good man. A very good man. You have the factor, again, that, as I said, Boeing was fudging documentation. On top of that, the stickling point here is that you have Lockheed and Boeing sitting right on ANSI's board, watched over by Communist China between 2015 and 21, and you have federal agencies and corporations. Corporations and federal agencies, and the federal agency that signs off their contract is the Department of Defense. I'm going to leave it here, business owners. I think I've talked enough, but I want to play a song from Tom MacDonald, which basically illuminates the determination of us being American, truly American, not like it's been bastardized all the way through time, as we've seen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk away and let this play out, because I find this very interesting, because I have had the slings and arrows of ANSI ANAB's henchmen. In fact, the gentleman that I told you about in other videos, Randy Dotery, who at the time he said this, he was the vice president of ANAB, the chairman of the IAF, and also the principal on the IAF tax report. He said about this guy who tried to take me to task. I'm not going to tell you where he lives, but it was trying to take me to task, and he lost. He said that I know him best. He is the champion of accredited certification, and we at ANAB take him seriously when he complains. And you go back and you listen to those words. I know him best. He is a force to be reckoned with. These are all affirmative sayings that there is a relationship there. So let me play this for you. I hope you enjoy this, because it's good.
State your age. 32. State your country of residence. United States of America. State your name. Tom MacDonald. Under Section 4A of the Restrictions on Freedom Act, established by the International Police in February of 2022, you have been found to be in violation of several civil disobedience bylaws. Inciting public distrust of the government, solicitation of confidential information, anti-institutional rhetoric, unauthorized assembly of civilians with the purpose of protest, and amplifying social unrest. You are a threat to world safety, and therefore you are being charged by the international police for the aforementioned disobediences. How do you plead?
You know, what you call disobedience, you know what we used to call that? Freedom. And what you call inappropriate, I call necessary. And what you call lies and conspiracy and anti-institutional rhetoric, I call that the truth. You guys really think you run the world, huh? You think you can just bully everyone and cancel everything? You think you can just push us around so we all fall in line? Here's the thing. I've been fighting for the world for a long time. For the losers and the rejects and the outcasts and the forgotten. For the abused and the unwell and the disenfranchised.
Calm down, Mr. MacDonald.
No, I've been fighting for our freedoms and our safety and our survival and the way that we remember the world used to be. I I've been fighting for the world.
Sit down.
No, I'm not gonna sit down. I won't shut up. I will not quit. I will not back off. I won't let you destroy everything that people have spent their lives trying to build. I have fought for the world for all my life, but do not think for a second that I will not fight against it.
That's why you're here. That's why you will never leave here.
You think you can stop me? You really think you can stop me? It's been me against the world since I was old enough to think.
War, famine, natural disaster. The world has fought it all and won. The world is undefeated. We are undefeated. One man will not change that.
You see, that's where you screwed up. They say with great power comes great responsibility. You know what else comes with great power? Ignorance. Careless mistakes. The ability to vastly underestimate the people who you have power over. And I am not alone. You can lock me up, you can hide me away, you can shoot me down like a dog in the street, but I promise you, you cannot kill me. My word, my message, my vision, my spirit will live on through Hangover Gang forever. And you know what? I guess you're not the only one making mistakes. Because when I said it was me against the world, I was mistaken. It's not me against the world. It's us against the world. Not guilty.
That's right, Tom. Not guilty. Just like I was in my case. That lasted 3 years. Unbelievable. So I leave it up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to watch this. I thank you again, Tom. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS, @yahoo.com. And have a good day. And remember, Bell is beautiful. Boeing and Lockheed, Sikorsky, who knows?